might be watching on the YouTube channel, just so you have reference points. Thank you for joining us this morning, and I will turn it over to Kristen.
Thank you, Tim. All right, let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, we are going to be talking about the BMA, or buyer market analysis. Buyside has a lot of different components. You can add buyers for a buyer matching. You can add your coming soon listings. It has a home valuation site that's a public free report that you can do. But one of the things that it has in it is something called the BMA, or buyer market analysis. Now, normally when we go on a listing presentation, take our home selling proposal, we usually do a CMA, competitive market analysis, whatever you want to call it. But that only shows homes. It doesn't actually show the actual buyer activity that's in the market. And this is something that's really unique to us, and it's unique to our system, and the buyers that are in there are buyers that are working with our agents. So this really does go to show the power of the network and the power of the company that you work for when you go into a listing presentation. So I'm going to start today just with the public side. If you were in my 10 o'clock class, you may have seen this. You may have seen this before, but this is the what is your home worth that everyone has. This is the public page that you can share on social media. You can add this into your email signatures, and people can go ahead and put their address in here and then go ahead and get that information out. And it's just a report that they can get on screen that has lots of different ways to contact you. You have something very, very similar, but in a report that you can actually take with you that's generated as a PDF. So that's what I'm going to show you today. I'm back in Town Central here. I've logged into Town Central. I'm logged in as Ralston. In order to get to this, all I have to do is click on the Buyside button here in the quick links. Buyside is an SSO, or single sign-on, which means you do not need a username and password in order to access the system. I've already logged in just to make sure that I was in the right screen today. But if you go ahead and click that, it will open up a new window with Buyside in it. When you go to the Buyside dashboard, there we go. Let me go to my agent view here. This is what it looks like when you log in for the first time. It is going to show you all of your different buyers that you have in the system. I'm going to show you today how you can add buyers after I show you that report. It's also going to show you any listings that you have. Now, of course, I'm logged in as Ralston today, who's not an active listing agent, but it does sync with the MLS, so all of your listings will be here. But the other thing you'll see here is all of your coming soon listings as well. One of the things I do want to point out to you is that when you have listings and when you have buyers, it's actually going to show you if you have matches in the system. So in this case, this particular buyer is a match to a home in the MLS. Anytime you see that non-MLS, it means that it's also a match to a coming soon listing. So this is going to become important here as we start to talk about this report. So today we're going to go up to this button right here called BMA. Again, this is a buyer market analysis. If I go ahead and click on this, it's going to bring me to a screen that's really similar to that public report. It's just going to ask me to put in an address. Now, I've picked an address in the middle of Virginia Beach today just for my example, so that I can use it, but I encourage you to go ahead and use your own address in here just so that you can see what this looks like when you generate it when we're done with this class. If you need help at any time, we also have these explainer videos right here. It will show you how you can create a report, and it can also show you how to explain this report. So if you'd like to go back, you can either watch this training class again, or feel free to watch this explainer video that's built in here as well. I went ahead again and I picked an address kind of in the middle of Virginia Beach for today, just so that we have all of our elements here. Notice as I start to enter the address, it's going to go ahead and start to pre-populate it. I'm going to go ahead and choose this one because that's what I'm looking at. And it's going to ask me to verify this information. Now, this is really important because hopefully you have done some analysis ahead of time. You've checked your tax records. You may have talked to the owners. That way you can go ahead and verify this information. In this case, for this particular property, I know this is incorrect. This does have 4 bedrooms and 3 baths, but the county records, or the city records in this case, do not account for an addition that was put on. So this is actually 2,560 square feet. It's going to go ahead and put in your lot size, and it's going to go ahead and ask you to verify what type of property this is. So I've gone ahead and changed that information, and I'm going to hit OK. Now it's going to ask you to put some values into this report. You are welcome to put as many or as few as you want to. It always gives you 3 if it can, unless you're working with a rural property, in which case it may not have enough information. You may only see 2. It can have up to 5 options here for you to choose from. This is a report for you to talk directly to those sellers. I always like to include as much information as I possibly can because so much of this is inaccurate, and this is a great way for you to be able to prove yourself as the market expert as you talk through this report and as you talk through your CMA and as you talk to your home selling proposal. You'll have a lot more intimate knowledge of the market and the house and the neighborhood that you're working with to be able to argue against some of these prices that are in here. So I'm going to go ahead and choose all 3 of these. That does include the Zillow's estimate. This is part of the public tax records and then also RPR in here. But it's giving you an opportunity to put in your own estimate as well. So if you've done some work on this property, you've been able to estimate where you would price it, perhaps, you can go ahead and put your low estimate and high estimate in here. So in this case, for this property, I'm just going to say maybe $499,900, and my high estimate for this property is maybe going to be $549. Just going to go ahead and put in some values. Go ahead and hit next. And notice that it's telling me I have 7 featured buyers. This is an important part of this system. This is showing me that between $499 and $549, I have 7 buyers in the system right now. Now, these buyers have been added by agents in our company. These are agents who are, uh-oh, what happened here? There we go. These are agents within our company that have been added by our company, and they are agents that are buyers that are available right now in the system, and I'm going to show you how you can match that up. But the nice thing is that you can actually start to spread these bars apart to try to pick up more buyers if you need them to. This is great if you're in an area where it may not have quite as many buyers, if you need to go ahead and show some more, or if you're in a price range where there's a much greater range than this. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of slide this up maybe to 560. Okay, I pick up another buyer. And I'm just going to go ahead and go on down here and maybe go to 475. All right, I'm still at 8. There we go. Okay. So I haven't been able to pick up too many more, but 8's a great number to start with. It's a great number of buyers to be able to go ahead and contact, and I'm going to go ahead and generate that PDF. This is the longest portion of this process here, where it's going to go ahead and generate that PDF for you. Now, the PDF can be emailed, the PDF can be printed. You can certainly go ahead and put it into an online presentation if you need to. You can certainly add this, for those of you who are working with the BHHS home selling proposal as a PDF or as a PowerPoint, you can go ahead and pull these images right into that presentation if you wanted to. So we're going to give it a second while the system is thinking here. So what it's doing right now is it's going ahead and building all of this information that's available in that free instant report that's available online, but it's also customizing this to you. There we go. So on my computer, it automatically downloads. So in my case, it went straight into my downloads folder with this real-time market update. Depending on the browser you use, depending on how your system is set up, you may have a pop-up that comes up that says, do you want to save this file? Or it could automatically save to your downloads folder, depending on how you have it set up. You can certainly go ahead and view that report. That'll pull up the PDF. And this is what it looks like. So again, I'm logged in as Ralston today. Ralston's preparing to go on a listing presentation, and he has prepared this. So everything is branded. It's branded to the company, and then it's branded to you. All of this information is available in your Buyside profile. All of this information here in your photo, why list with Town Realty, just some basic information. And then here we go into the meat of this. So we've talked about these are real-time valuations. This is what other people can see that this home is worth. So they were saying $494, $517, or $525 on Zillow, and we're recommending somewhere in this price range. So in this case, this one doesn't happen to be too far off here. And then we're going to talk about this buyer heat map. So this is going to show how much buyer activity is in the area. Now, this is in 23454, which is a super hot area of Virginia Beach, especially right now. This has been a area of great movement. But we also have a lot of buyer activities and a lot of buyers in this area. You'll notice, though, that some areas have less buyer activity, and this is where you can open up that conversation. If you're in a hot area, you're probably golden. But if your listing is in an area where maybe it's yellow, so you have less activity, or even orange, this is an opportunity to say, there are more buyers looking for something in this area here, or in the next section over. Or if it's in an area where maybe you have less buyers, you can also talk about the marketing that you're going to do to an area that has more buyers in it, in order to say, let me expose your home to even more people. This is where you come up with some direct mail into some similar communities. Maybe this is where you expand out your just listed. Maybe you're running some digital ads in a zip code next door that has a little bit more buyer activity. But this also helps start to set expectations too. So if in this market right now, when it's so hot right now and everything is turning over fairly quickly, we may not have to have as many of these conversations, but we don't expect this market to stay here forever. This is where you can start to establish just some expectations about the number of buyers that are actually looking in the system. So it's going to bring up some more information for us. It's going to bring up the number of online activities in the last 90 days. So all of these activities are brought in, and it's aggregate information. It's brought in from the Big Z. It's brought in from BHHS. It's brought in from lots of different real estate portals, our own websites. And we can show that there are 12 million online activities in the last 90 days in Virginia. And then it's going to start to narrow that down a little bit further. So it's going to be 1,300,000 online activities within a 5-mile radius of that particular address, and then 82,000 within a 5-mile radius within the home's price range. And then we get down to 81,000 online activities within a 5-mile radius and within the home's price range looking for a 4-bedroom. That's a lot of online activity. So these are people who are searching. This is anytime that there's been something like an open house, people have registered, any kind of online activity where a home that's similar to this is shown up, that's where this is counted. So there's a lot of people obviously looking for this particular type of home in the system right now. Then it's going to give us some statistical information. So we know that in this case, we have most people are, of course, going to be looking for a 3-bedroom, believe it or not. Normally, we see this swapped between a 3 and a 4. So most of the online activities are actually looking for a 3-bedroom. But this is where you can have that conversation with a buyer. Maybe they have a room over the garage. They haven't finished out as a bedroom yet, but it could easily be done. Maybe they've identified something, maybe as a small office that you could count as a bedroom. Whatever it might be, you could say that if you could open up this house, which is only a 3-bedroom, to make it a 4-bedroom somehow, look how many more buyers are in, look how many more buyers you pick up in that range. So this is a great way to have that conversation, especially if you're looking at a home where you might be able to make some adjustments. And again, this is also a great way to have that conversation where if you're dealing with something like only a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom, maybe this is a condo you're talking about, and you can say, there's a lot more buyers in the 3 to 4 range. This is where you set expectations, but you only have that 1-bedroom or you only have that 2-bedroom, and there are just less buyers in the market for this right now. It's also going to show the buyer activities by price range. I love this section. And this is actually a great property to show. So when I put in my price range on here, I said that I was thinking about maybe somewhere between like $499, maybe $525, $549, whatever it happened to be. This is where you have that conversation with that seller. And you can say, at $500,000, there's 154,000 buyers and buyer activities in the market right now. But look what we pick up. We more than double it here if we just drop it down to $499.9. So this is where you can have that conversation within price ranges. This is also good to run for a home that might be already on the market. If you've ever had to have a conversation about reducing something that's on the market now, and you're right on the line between 2 different price ranges, where you can say, okay, we've had this listed at $525 and we haven't seen very much movement. But if we drop this to that $499.9 range, look how many more buyers we expose this home to. Great for initial pricing, also great for having that conversation if you ever have to get into a price reduction situation here. So do keep an eye on these price ranges. I really do love this information that they put out there, especially if you have a home that's riding right on the line of 2 different areas. And then we get into the buyers. And again, this is information that's only available within BHHS, BHHS Town. Occasionally, depending on where you're working, oh, here's one. You may see Commonwealth Real Estate. This is actually another BHHS. They're out of Richmond. This means that somebody has actually put a a buyer into the system. So it does pull in some of our other BHHS affiliates in here, but it will only pull in BHHS information. Usually it just says Town Realty. And it's letting us know that there's 8 potential buyers between 475 and 575. So that's the range that I put in the last 90 days. And here are some of their profiles. Now, if you're sitting in front of Mr. and Mrs. Seller and you're showing them this, you can say, I'm going to go back to the office today and I'm going to contact the agents of these buyers and let them know that your home is coming on the market. It's a great way to start networking immediately. As you start getting these listings into the system and as you start doing coming soon, especially if you have some time in between, maybe you need to get some photos taken, maybe they're going to do some repairs, you're going to go back to the office and put this listing in as a coming soon. This is going to blast out to not only the company, but also to these agents that have these buyers. And I'm going to show you how you can look up these buyer IDs in the system. Now, while I'm talking about putting buyers into the system, I am going to show you how you can add a buyer in here, but I wanted to show you why this is so important to add your buyers. Buyside, while we're all independent contractors working on listings and sellings and buyers and sellers and everything, this is a collaborative environment. The more buyers you put into the system, the better your reports look and the better the reports look for everyone else as well. When you're going into a competitive situation and you're up against another company, we want to be able to show the power of our network. We want to be able to show the power of our company and the power of our agents, and the ability to really connect and get these homes sold very quickly. And we want to be able to show that buyer activity. So I highly encourage you, even if you have a buyer that's just on the fringe, these do not need to be hot prospects. They do not need to be guaranteed prospects that they're going to be buying. They just need to be people who are in the market. So go through your index, go through all of your buyer profiles, go through all of your contact lists, and go ahead and put those buyers into the system and make these reports more robust, not only for people who are taking these BMAs to listing appointments, and that includes you, but also because this information for these buyers and these potential buyers also shows up on the public side. So on that home valuation system that anybody can use at any time, that free instant report that's available for anybody who wants to pop in an address, these same potential buyers with these buyer IDs are available on there as well. And it really does encourage people to want to list their home because they see real people behind these buyer IDs that are in the market right now for a home that's just like theirs. So I'm going to show you how to put your buyers in the system. But again, I cannot emphasize this enough, how important it is to not only take this report with you just so that you can show buyer activity, but also to put your buyers in so that you can show, again, the strength of our company, the strength of your networking ability within our company as well. So that is the BMA report. Do not go on a listing presentation without it. It should definitely be a supplement to anything you do with your CMA and with your home selling proposal from BHHS. And again, you can always download this, you can print this, you can certainly go ahead and email this at any time. All right, let me get back to my screens here with my home valuation site, and I want to show you how you can go ahead and add your buyers to the system. So up here, I'm back in my Buyside dashboard. You'll see this button up here that says add. We can do one of two things. We can add a buyer or add this listing. If you have been able to secure that listing from your BMA, from your CMA, from your home selling proposal, you can certainly go ahead and add it as a coming soon. All of those coming soon emails that you see coming out from the company and things that are on your hot sheet are part of this add your listing, which is a coming soon. Once it comes on the market, of course, it will be in your dashboard. And if you don't add a coming soon listing for a listing that's coming up, it will show up in your dashboard once it is in the MLS. But we certainly would like a head start in getting this house noticed. But you can also add your buyers to the system here. So I'm just going to go ahead and add, and then I'm going to go ahead and add buyer. And then it's just going to ask us for some basic information. Now, I'm logged in as Ralston. I'm working as Ralston here. I'm working with a buyer. I can see this information, but you as an agent can only see that buyer ID and some basic information on the other side if they are not a buyer. So this, or not one of your buyers. So this system does maintain confidentiality. It's only going to show information to other agents and on the public portal that we want them to see. So in this case, I'm going to say that maybe this buyer I'm working with right now is looking for either 23452 or maybe 23454. And I can also put in some basic information. So I know that they're going to be looking for maybe 3+ beds, 2.5 baths or more. They need at least 2,500 square feet. They only want a ranch. They don't care about the age of the home, don't care about the lot size, don't really care about the garage. They only want a single family detached. The property condition, they would like it turnkey if possible. And then what kind of house style do they want? We don't have to put in this information. There's lots of different house styles in our area. I'm just going to go ahead and leave that alone. You do have the ability to put in some public comments about your buyers if you'd like. This would be available for somebody, another agent to see if they were in the system. So we could say something like, ready to buy now, do not need to sell their home in order to buy. Again, the only people who are going to see this are other agents, just something we can go ahead and put in the system. You do have the ability to show must, likes, and dislikes in here if they can get really, really specific. If a swimming pool is a must for them, go ahead and put this in. This is all optional. You don't have to put all this information in. Maybe waterfront is a must. Maybe they don't like certain things. Whatever it happens to be, you can go ahead and put that in there. You can also put in some basic information about them. So maybe they're pre-qualified. We don't have to put the lender name in there if we don't want to. We can put their minimum and maximum price range that they're looking at. This helps with just some information in the system to just be able to identify which properties they match with. You can make this range whatever you want to. So in this case, I'm just going to make this range 350 to maybe 650. We'll just make it nice and big. You don't have to put in this information if you don't want to. They need to purchase by, maybe they want to purchase so they can move in the summer. So they want to be closed by the end of May if possible. What type of buyer are they? Are they a first-time buyer? They're an owner that must sell first? Are they an owner that doesn't need to sell? Are they currently renting? Maybe we're going to say they're an owner that doesn't need to sell, and that's because they're currently renting. You can also put in your method of payment if you want to, but again, you don't have to. And then you can also put in the buyer details in here. Now, nobody can see the buyer details except for you. So if you wanted to put in something like Jane McBuyer here, another agent's not going to be able to see this. This is just great reference for you. So you can go ahead and put this information in, and then you hit add buyer. So what's going to happen is now we have Jane McBuyer into the system. Now, anyone who runs a BMA on a property that matches her buyer ID, so this little 6893205 is going to show up on that report, and it's just going to give her range. And that's all that it's going to give, this information. Again, I'm logged in as Ralston, so I can see this, and I have some information on here. It's also going to start to show which properties actually match her criteria right now. So I put in Jane McBuyer, and it's going to show me that this particular property matches. I could actually go ahead right now and contact this listing agent if I wanted to. So if I went ahead and did this, I could write my own message, and then I could send an email to that listing agent to say, hey, I have a buyer I think is going to match this particular listing. Let's talk. You can do this in reverse as well. So I'm going to show you here. Let me pull up this buyer again. This is that BMA that I made. And maybe I've gone back to the office and I know I'm going to take this listing and I want to start contacting agents about this particular listing. So I'm going to go ahead and grab one of these numbers. Let me go ahead and write this down here. You can always copy and paste too. So I'm going to grab that first one, that 663-9812. That's all I can see. Let me show you what you can see as well. Going back to my dashboard, instead of adding a buyer, I'm going to find a buyer. So you can find buyers by all sorts of different things on here and start contacting agents. So if you get a new listing, but in this case, I want a specific buyer ID. So I'm going to change that to buyer ID. I'm going to go ahead and put in 663-9812 and hit search. And it's bringing me up that buyer ID. So I know this is matching a coming soon listing that I'm putting on the market right now. So again, this is the information that I can see that the agent has put in. Okay, in this case, the agent happens to be Maura Bean. So she's put in that she has this buyer. Again, we can't see that name, it's confidential. She's put in this basic information, just like we added that buyer. So she's letting us know that their target price range is between this. She's put in some general comments here. So the buyers are looking for a single family home with deep water access with a price range to 650. They like the Elizabeth River Shore, but are open to other areas. So if I have a home that I know is going to match this, especially that very specific thing about wanting deep water access, then I can go ahead and contact her. And it's just going to give me, again, some just basic information, but again, confidential. It's not showing me the person's name. It's not showing me their email address. It's not showing me any of the other information that she may have on her side in that buyer profile that you saw. It's only showing me that basic information that's available there. And then, of course, here's their full profile. So she has shown that they're looking for most of Virginia Beach. They're open to Norfolk as well on here. So I can go ahead and contact Mara, but it's going to ask me to add this listing. So they know this listing is coming on the market. So I'm going to add this as a coming soon, and then this will be able to open it up so that I can go ahead and add this listing. Now, I don't want to add this to this listing to the actual thing. I don't want it to send out to the whole company right now as a live thing, just because we're in a training class today. But putting in those coming soon listings is so easy. Again, you can either get to it from here with add and add a listing, or if you're trying to contact someone, it's going to make you add that listing in here. And just like the buyer profiles, it's going to ask you for some basic information to be able to put in. And then you can go ahead and add that listing. Again, that listing is going to blast out to the whole company that it's a coming soon listing. And then you'll also be able to contact those agents where you have those matching buyers. So you can certainly see the strength of the BMA, and you can certainly see the strength of the report and the strength of putting in all of those buyers when you have them into the system, so that you're able to strengthen the reports that you're sending out, but also be able to network. When you add buyers to the system, not only do they stay in the system, so other agents can find buyers that match, potential coming soon listings for them as well. But your buyers are also added to that hot sheet that comes out every day, along with our coming soon listings. At the end of the day, we also summarize all the new buyers that have been added to the system as well. So that is the BMA report, and that is how to add buyers to the system, also how to find buyers in the system. I am happy to take any questions you might have about the BMA or adding buyers at this time.
If anyone has any questions, feel free to unmute. Raise your virtual hand. Type in the chat.
Hi.
With Buyside that it will have inactive listings or under contract ones.
What was that question?
It says, I have noticed with Buyside that it will have inactive listings or under contract ones.
The under contract ones will stay until they sell, just because under contracts don't always make it through. In this market, they usually do, obviously, but not in every market that we have. The inactive ones will be in there if they were put in as coming soon listings and then either never brought to market, or if they were put in as coming soon and withdrawn and they have the potential to go back on. You can certainly contact those agents again to identify that you have a buyer. Because it may be a seller that just came off the market for whatever reason. Maybe they're just not ready to sell right now. Maybe they just withdrew. Maybe they just didn't get an offer in the time frame that they wanted to. But we certainly want to leave the door open where those contacts are able to happen. So that's where just having communication with another agent. It would happen the same way if so many of us explore homes that have come off the market, especially in this market when there isn't enough inventory, to be able to talk to those agents to say, is this home coming back on the market? Why did they take it off? Whatever it happens to be, if you have a specific buyer for it. The only difference is that this system just facilitates it with email versus having to look through the MLS and doing it by yourself. So, any other questions?
Can you show me how to do a posting if I have a buyer and want to put something on social media or a Sphere zip code ad?
I can do that. All right. Give me just a second to set that up because I hadn't set that up today. Talk amongst yourselves for just a quick second.
Any other questions that don't have to pertain to Buyside that I could answer while we're waiting for her to set it up?
Thank you.
If you are not an ABR, we are going to be doing ABR in March, accredited buyer representative. $99 for the class plus your registration fee. You get the first year free, then $110 yearly membership fee. But we're doing that March 23rd and 4th, I think. If you're interested, shoot an email to training@bhhstown.com and Haley will send you the link to register for it. We'll be doing At Home with Diversity in April. For any of you that have not taken the At Home with Diversity yet, we'll be offering that as well. Kristen, does this mean you're ready?
I am ready. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
You're welcome.
Not a question I was going to cover today, but it's a fabulous one. All right. So in my previous class, I showed you how you could share the home valuation site to try to get people to put in their address, to try to get those to try to get their addresses so that you can start doing stuff with sellers, but you are able to reverse prospect buyers from the system as well. It's a great question. So I'm on my dashboard right now, and I have a couple of buyers in here. Here's George McBuyer and Jane McBuyer, and I want to advertise on social media that I have a buyer looking for a specific area. If I go ahead and click on their profile, so here's George McBuyer. George McBuyer happens to be looking for something in York County schools between 300 and 600. I've just put in some basic information here. You do have this information, do have this button up here called share on social media. So we do have the ability to share on a bunch of different social medias that are on here. I'm going to go ahead and share to Facebook because I have that set up already. And it's going to go ahead and bring up this little screen here where it's going to ask me how I want to share this. So in my case, this has already brought up my personal page. So here's my Kristen Fredericks. We have a graphic already built in that says ready to sell your home. I have buyers. This is where you need to say something about those buyers. So we have something in here that says thinking of selling. I have buyers. I have a home buyer looking for a 3-bedroom in York County Public Schools, Virginia, because it's just going to bring in their basic information. You can certainly say something even more. You can say, I have a buyer looking for a 4-bedroom, 3-bath home in York County. They are ready to buy today. If you are thinking about selling your home, contact me. It always helps when I spell things correctly. And then you can go, of course, and put in your contact information if you want to. You can put a link to contact form, whatever you want to do. So I'll put in my office address for this one. So I have a buyer looking for a 4-bedroom, 3-bath home in York County. They are ready to buy today. If you're thinking about selling your home, contact me. Here's my phone number. And then, of course, I can go ahead and post this to Facebook if I want to. So I've posted this. This actually is gone to my personal one on here. If you actually want to share it to your professional business page, there is a way to go ahead and change that. So you can either share it in a group for those of you who are in a bunch of the buy, sell, trade groups or in the real estate groups or whatever you happen to be on Facebook. If it allows you to share in there some real estate information, you can certainly share into a group to get even more traction for this. But you can also share on a page you manage. So if you have a professional page and you manage that, obviously, you can go ahead and share that on a page you manage. It'll bring up the different pages that you have. So if I wanted to go ahead and post as my agent page, you can see how many pages I have in here. You can go ahead and post it to your business page as well. Let me see if I can find my training account. Here it is. And I can post that to Facebook, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. Don't have the ability to switch screens today, so give me 1 second here to pull that in. And I'll show you what that looks like.
I'm sorry, can you tell me where you went to before you started making the post? I lost you there for a second.
No problem. Let me just show this post real quick, and then I will go back and show that one more time.
Thank you.
Yep. So there's that post I just made. I'm going to go ahead and blow this up for you a little bit here. So I'm on my training account on Facebook here, and it says I have a buyer looking for a 4-bedroom, 3-bath home in York County. They're ready to buy today. If you're thinking about selling your home, contact me. Here's my phone number. And then, of course, it went ahead and added this. So if somebody were to click on this, it would only show. Remember, this is from the public side of things. It's only going to show the buyer ID. It's going to show the price range, where they want to be. It's going to show that area of interest, and it's going to say, contact me. Contact me to get more details. Contact me to get more details. It's not going to show them anything public, anything that you don't want them to see. All of this information is all a call to action on here. So if you want to see what kind of other property features they want to have, if I have a home in York County that's 4-bedroom and 3-bath, then hey, yeah, for the right price, I'll sell it. If I do this, it's going to make me put in some information so that I can contact you, the agent, in order to do that. So again, everything is branded to you, and everything is pulled in. So let me show you where that is again. Let me go ahead and get back. Let me get back to my dashboard. So here's my dashboard. This is initially when I log on to Buyside. This is what I see. If I click on any buyer, so here's George McBuyer. Here's all of his information I've put in. This is my buyer, so I can see all of this. It says right up here, share on social media, and then just go ahead and choose where you want to share it. So in this case, I want to share it to Facebook. I'll just go ahead and click Facebook. It's going to bring up that little window there. And then again, it's either going to let me share this as me,
Cool.
or if I click on this, it's going to let me share it into a group or share on a page I manage. And if I share it on a page I manage, I can just choose my business page instead.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
All right, then we have who takes the buyers out once they're under contract?
So the buyers, the buyers will drop off, and I think it is, I want to say it's 6 months. If you don't do anything, they will drop off, but you can always log in and also take them out. So notice that George McBuyer here, maybe we've put him under contract. We can go ahead and change him to an inactive buyer if we know that we've already sold something to him, and then he's no longer in the system. So he'll just show up as an inactive buyer, and then it'll again drop off after those months. Mm-hmm.
America, did that answer your question? Because I have a contractor working on my office and I stopped listening for a second.
Yeah, that was fine, because I was just worried that we'd be giving people false information if, we had all these buyers in there and we're doing a BMA and look at all these people we have, and then really we don't. That's all.
Yes, you can go ahead. Any agent can go in at any time and go ahead and put their buyer to inactive if they need to. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks.
Uh-huh.
All right, any other questions? Type it into the chat. Raise your hand. All right, sounds like there's no more questions. Thank you all for being here.